So you've just seen the year-end process there end to end, and you can get on with that just as soon as you're ready. You don't need to wait for any of these deadlines or indeed the end of the tax year. Once you've completed all the preparation, you can get that out of the way, and you can then start thinking about getting ready for the new tax year, which begins on the 6th of April. So I'm going to take you through a checklist, which you can also read on our support hub. And we have 5 steps to get you ready for the new tax year. So step number 1 is to check that you're using the correct version of Payroll. So you need to have installed the year-end update, which is version 30. Step 2 is to update your national insurance rates for the new tax year by retrieving a legislation update, which I'm going to show you in the demo. Step 3 is to update your employees' tax codes. So there's one global change, and you may need to apply some individual tax code notices if you've received them. Step 4, apply for employment allowance if applicable, if your business qualifies for that. And step 5, to set up small employers relief, again, if applicable. So the version you should be using is version 30. If you can see the home screen that Alice was showing you, you know that you've installed it because that's only available in version 30, but you can do a version check by clicking help and then about, and you can check underneath program details. Now, as long as you've got version 30 installed, you're then ready to update your national insurance rates for the new tax year. So in the spring budget, it was announced that the main rate of employees' national insurance will be reducing from 10% to 8% effective from the 6th of April. So there wasn't much notice of this change. It's just a month turnaround to get that change in place. And for that reason, we've made this update available as a legislation update, meaning that you won't need to go through a full installation process again. You just need version 30. And then once you're on version 30, you would log into any of your payrolls with a username that has access to all employees. You would go to the Tools menu and you would click Check for Legislation Updates. You'll then confirm that you want to see if there are any updates available for current legislation. You click Yes to that message, and then it will retrieve the NI bans and rates legislation, and that will then be applied to the current payroll you logged into, and also to any other payrolls that use the same username and password that you're logged in as. So I want to show you this step because it is really important that you do this before you start any payrolls in the new tax year, and you can do it straight away. The legislation is date sensitive, so that new rate will only be effective from the 6th of April. So I'm just going to switch my camera off to give you a full screen view. I'm already logged into a payroll. So to retrieve and apply this legislation update, all you would do is click Tools. You then click Check for Legislation Updates. You click Yes to continue. And that will check our online legislation service, and you should see this message. So a legislation update has been found. Would you like to apply changes now? You would go ahead and click Yes. Now you'll then see a log file, so a summary of the changes that have been made. And if you do have a multi-company payroll, I would strongly recommend that you print this log out, because this will tell you exactly which of your companies have been updated and which haven't, and for various reasons. So you can see that company 1 here has been successfully updated. Company 2 has not, because the user has a different password in company 2. And company 3, the one I'm currently logged into, has been updated. So if you print this out, you'll know which other companies you need to log into, and then you repeat the exact same step, Tools, and Check for Legislation Updates. So I'm just going to close that log for now. You then get the confirmation that there are no legislation updates found. So there's no new legislation after this one. And to check that that has applied in the current company, just make sure your process date is set in the new tax year. So I've got mine set to the 6th of April. And then if you go to your company tasks and then legislation, you can select the NI tab. And then you can see effective from the 6th of April, the employee rate of national insurance for standard rate contributions is that 8% as announced on the 6th of March. So that's how you apply that change. You need to be on version 30 and you need to have upgraded your data. I suggest that you log in as the manager user, or a user needs to be a user that has access to all employees. If you've got the same password for other companies, perfect. If not, you'll just need to log into the other companies and follow those same steps. So that is updating your NI rates, checking for legislation updates, and applying them. You can read that step by step as well by following the link in the slide. But we will move on to step 3 now and talk about updating your employees' tax codes. So at the start of each tax year, there are usually some global changes to make to tax codes, and this year is no different. You will need to clear week 1, month 1 flags for all existing employees so that tax is calculated on a cumulative basis moving forward into the new year. So we suggest using global changes for this because you can do it in a oneer and you can make sure no one is missed out. Now, because the personal allowance has been frozen, it remains at £12,570 per year. It means that there's no uplift required to tax codes ending L, M or N. And the emergency tax code for 2024 to 25 will remain at 1257L, and that represents the frozen personal allowance. However, depending on employees' individual circumstances, you may receive an individual tax code notice, a P9 notice, and you would need to apply those changes to the relevant employees. So if you have got P9 notices, you might want to apply those after doing the global change, and that way you can be absolutely certain that those employees end up on the right tax code, although it would be very rare for a tax code on an individual notice to be on a week 1, month 1 basis at the start of a year. So let's show you the global change for this one. I'm just going to bring those slides down. So first things first, make sure your process date is set in the new tax year. So mine is already set to the 6th of April. And if I just show you the current tax codes for my employees, most of them are already on cumulative codes, but I do have one employee who is on a month 1 basis. So that's the one where we need to clear the week 1, month 1 flag, which we could do in the individual employee record. But the best way to do it is using global changes. So if you click onto clear and then swap, that's going to highlight everyone in your employee list. And you can then go to tasks, global changes, across to tax codes, and then down to clear week 1, month 1 flag. So you'll then see confirmation that this will clear the week 1, month 1 flag for the selected employees. And I'm going to click yes to proceed. It confirms that they're successfully updated. And if you keep an eye on this tax code just here, as soon as I click OK, you'll see that that month 1 flag has been removed. And that is the only global change that you need to do in relation to tax codes. Now, you might receive individual tax coding notices either in the post or online. And if you still get them in the post, you can apply any changes directly within the relevant employee record. So you would go into the record, you would click on the Employment tab. Now, you can set these up in advance. So if you click on the plus symbol next to the current tax code, that will then allow you to add a new tax code with an effective from date. And then you can type the tax code in and you can enter effective from, usually that would be the 6th of April for these P9 notices. So that's how you would set them up manually if you get the notices in the post. But if you do get them online, you can use the built-in secure mailbox in Sage 50 Payroll to apply the changes directly to the employee records. So this is really simple to do. Start by going to the e-submissions tasks down here in the bottom left corner. And then if you open IR Secure Mailbox from the list of tasks, and then if it doesn't check automatically, you would click on this New Mail button at the top, and then you'll see a progress bar move across as it connects to your HMRC mailbox. and then any new notifications should be organized into folders here on the left-hand side. So in this example, I have two P9 notices. So this is a notice of coding for the new tax year. You can view the individual notices by either double-clicking or selecting and clicking open. And that will show you the employee details, tax code to use, and the effective from date. And then you can either apply them one at a time, or you can select them all at the same time and apply them as a batch. So I just want to show you how you can select multiple notices, because there's a few different ways. So I've just got the two in the list, but if I wanted to select everything in this view, I can clear the selection and then swap the selection using these two buttons at the top. And you can see there it has highlighted both of those notices. Or other ways to do it is you can hold down the Control key on your keyboard and then click on each individual notice you want to highlight. So that's another way of doing a multiple selection. Or a third way is you can hold down the Shift key on your keyboard and then click on the first and last notice in a list, and that will highlight everything in between. So if you do highlight more than one, you can then open them together. You can see all the details on screen. You can print these details. And the good thing here is we can apply these changes, and you can apply them early if you wish to. I'm going to click yes to continue. You can see the status for both of these shows success. And then if I close out of the mailbox, I'll just show you the two employees that we've updated. So employee 2 previously was on 1288L, and effective from the 6th of April has switched to 1257L. And then for employee 6, you can see previously they were on D0 and they've moved on to this K code. So that's process date sensitive. If you still had periods to complete in the previous year, it would use the previous tax code for those periods. So we have updated the tax codes by doing the global change to clear the week 1, month 1 flags. And we've then applied individual tax code notices. And if you get them online, top tip, use a secure mailbox. And we are running a webinar on this in April if you want to learn more. But you can do that to view and apply those notices all in one go. So 2 remaining steps for getting ready for the new tax year. So we're going to do these together. The next one is to apply for employment allowance if your business is eligible to claim this. So this needs to be applied for every tax year. These days it doesn't automatically carry forward. And you can usually claim it if you're a business or charity with employers' Class 1 national insurance liabilities of less than £100,000 in the previous tax year. So you might want to look at your reports for 2023 to 24 to see whether you are still eligible for this allowance. And you can read the full eligibility criteria on the gov.uk website. So if you are eligible, you need to apply, and you're going to do that in your company settings. Also in your company settings is the Small Employers Relief checkbox. So this enables you to reclaim more of the statutory parental payments that you're recovering from HMRC. So you get 103% of those payments recovered if you qualify for Small Employers Relief, as opposed to 92% if you do not. And you'd usually qualify for this if your total Class 1 national insurance contributions were £45,000 or less in the tax year before the qualifying or matching week. So let's have a look at how you set up both of these. So just bringing the slides down and go in full screen once again. For this one, you start at your company tasks, and you would then go into settings. So first, to claim employment allowance, from the details tab, click on the apply for EA button, and then answer the question about state aid. So you're being asked here whether state aid rules apply to your business. So they are not usually applicable unless you're located in Northern Ireland. So for this demo, I'm going to choose state aid not applicable. And then it's just a case of submitting the employer payment summary. So this is your first submission of the year, usually if you're claiming it. And you can see here in the important information, the employment allowance indicator here is set to yes. So I'm going to go ahead and send this by clicking submit. And you'll see that the progress bar is moving across. And once it's been received by HMRC, you'll see the confirmation message on screen. So that submission has been successful. And all you then need to do is to tick the box, confirming that you're eligible to claim employment allowance. And then you will see a message just advising that you won't get a confirmation letter for this. But if your claim is rejected, you will receive a message from HMRC. If you're part of a group, only one company or charity in the group can claim that allowance. But if you're in any doubt, check out the gov.uk guidance or speak to HMRC directly. But that was now set up. And at the end of month one, when I run my P32, we will start to claim that employment allowance. The other setting here is for the small employers relief. And again, you should check this at the start of each tax year to see whether you are eligible or not. So I've already checked mine. My total national insurance was less than £45,000 in the previous tax years. So I'm just going to go ahead and tick this box for small employers relief. And then to save these settings, just need to click OK.